What's popping YouTube? How's it going? I hope you're having a good day. So basically today's video is going to be about Serato DJ Pro, just the general overview of the program itself and how it works. So for you budding DJs out there that want to learn how to DJ and you've got a software in mind, then I'll show you the general outlook. If you might have already purchased Serato, or you might have brought a controller and Serato's come with it and you've not got a clue where to start. So basically what we'll do is we'll just quickly load Serato up and we'll jump straight in and we'll have a look at the layout. So when you open Serato for the first time, you'll be presented with this layout. On your left hand side we've got what's called crates. Now crates are like folders, and like you can have subfolders inside of these folders. When you first start out, you'll have none of these. You'll just have the white ones. So you will have all videos, all audios. So what you want to first do is, like, if you click there, you can add a crate. So if, for example, if you're going to be adding house music, you might want to add a house crate, and then inside there you can add another crate and drag it inside and have like a sub crate, and then you can rename that sub crate to like house music 2018, and then have the tracks that you've got acquired this year and have that in there. So that's what you'll be presented with. That's basically just a quick overview on how the crates work. And then what you'll do then is you'll find the music you want to drag and drop. Just a quick note though, just make sure that the music you do drag and drop is on the same drive saved as what Serato's installed. People who use laptops, they won't have an issue, but people who use PCs, if you've got multiple drives and you've got the music on like an SSD and you've got Serato saved on a hard drive or installed on a hard drive, what you'll find is when you quit Serato and you come back in, the music won't be there. So just make sure that the folder of music is also on the drive that Serato's installed in. So what you'll do is you'll drag your music in, and if it doesn't automatically start analysing the files, all files will be highlighted. Just click analyse files there and it will start analysing the tracks, and then what it will do is it will then give you a beats per minute per track. So as you can see, 150, 80, 150, and then the key of each track and also the length. Now one thing to note with the key is when you're DJing, there's what's called mixed in key. Now each track has a certain key, so as you can see 1A through to 1B and then 2A and so on down the list. Now what you want to do is you want to work within the Camelot wheel, which I'll do a video about explaining exactly what mixed in key is and how it works. But when you're mixing tracks together, if they're in key, the same key, or a key next to that track in the wheel, then basically when you mix them together, they'll go really seamlessly together. So that's also a good thing. So that's beats per minute key and the length of the track. There's also a search bar. If you're looking for a specific track, then you can just search for it up there. So then up on the top left hand corner you've got the time, and below that you've got what's called the green bar. That green bar is your CPU usage. Now what you want to do for people who use laptops, etc., if your laptop's not quite up to spec or it's not recent and you've had it for a few years, what you'll find is when you start playing, if you want to try and record, etc., as well, like if you're recording a mix, it puts quite a high load on your CPU. Now that bar will turn from green to orange to red, and when it goes red, you're going to experience lag in the program, which is obviously not advised. But basically, just, most people these days have got a computer adequate enough to cope with such pressure. Next to that, you've got 1 or 2. Now 1 is basically just like a standalone player. It's brilliant for loading a track into it because it will show you the waveform and also show you your hot cues, etc. And that's good for just setting hot cues or if you want to listen to a track. But for the time being, we'll stick to 2. So what we'll do, we'll jump straight into this, and then I'll do a quick demonstration of mixing 2 tracks together, how it works, and then obviously from there you can go away and just sort mess about with it yourself, try and find points that you find in the track that you want to mix together, etc. So first off, you're presented with the waveform, which is basically the general outlook of the track. Most music tracks are structured the same sort of way. You'll have an intro, Then you'll also have like a breakdown, then a build up, then a drop, and then the drop then will go into a second breakdown, as you can see there, and then into another build up. Then the track will drop again, and then finally to the outro. So that's just the waveform of a track. So you can see sort of when and where you should be, like, you know, where each track will break down and build up and drop. So from there you can construct your mix, etc. So then underneath that, obviously the name of the track. Below that, you've got your hot cues. Now, hot cues are like visual cues. It just helps you when it comes to DJing. If you find a point of interest in a track and you want to drop a hot cue, maybe there's a cool fucking vocal clip in that track that you want to, mix or scratch over or whatever. If you're only beginning, then you're really not that advanced. But like I say, hot cues are brilliant visual cues. A lot of people, some DJs use them to know when to mix in and out. So if they've got like a mix in mind and they want to mix, say, like, for example, Lay It Down, this track that's loaded, and they also want to mix this Major Lazer track, the party original, the Party Squad, then it's good to know when and where to mix. So if you want to incorporate both breakdowns into a mix, then you'll know when to bring that track in to have the breakdowns playing at exactly the same time. Then next to that, you've got your, basically, this is for when you want to loop a track. So what you'll do is you'll hit the in button while the track's playing, and it'll start a loop. And then when you hit the out button, it will then create a loop. Now, below that is numbers, which corresponds to beats. So each track, if you look on Serato, above each of the beats, you can see these little white dashes. They count for one beat. So that there is one bar. So if you put a 4-bar loop together, and what it'll do is it'll loop those 4 sections together. What I'll do is I'll do a more in-depth video on auto looping and how to loop and when to chop, etc. But when you've looped a track, if we just quickly, let me just turn these down. If we just quickly press play and we do an in and out loop, you can see what I mean. So the track's playing along, and if you hit 8, it will then loop, but then you can also chop the track down to 4. And then you can go all the way down to basically 1/32. So that's just a quick how to auto loop a track. Then obviously above that you've got the key, like we said earlier, which is listed here. Next to that, then you've got obviously the eject button if you want to remove a track from the virtual deck. And next to that, you've got your beats per minute. So now your beats per minute is the general, how many beats per minute. It's, the proof is in the pudding. So if you wanted to speed a track up, if you left click on it, hold it, and then drag it, you can speed the track up. Now if you wanted to slow the track down, obviously hold it and pull down on your mouse. For the purpose of this video, we'll just keep it at 150 so we can mix 2 tracks together. So when you first start to learn to DJ, you want to do what's called, obviously you want to beat match the tracks together. Now if you've got one track at 150 and one track at 140, when you play them together, let's just load a quick track on that's like, that's less, so 140 there. So if I play these 2 in time, what you'll notice is there's a bit of a vocal breakdown, which you won't really notice the difference, but as soon as the beat kicks in, you can see already that they're not in time. So it just doesn't sound right. So what you want to make sure you do when you beat matching is make sure that both of those tracks are in time. So let's just load this one back up. So when you first start DJing, you want to learn how to beat match. That's pretty much the sort of, bog standard, sort of really simplistic version of beat matching. What we'll do, I'll show you the general overview. We'll get into it more, and we'll show you exactly when and where to beat match, etc. So then on the second side, you've got exactly the same. All it does is it loads the track up on that side with the hot cues from that track. You've got your crossfader in the middle. It's pretty self-explanatory. If if all the way to the left is you know, it'll play just the left side, then all the way to the right, play the right side, then in the middle, it'll play both tracks at the same time. And then what you want to also make sure as well is with your master volume, that'll tell you what like it'll tell you on your controller what your master volume is. So if it's green, then good, you know, you can go amber, but then when you start going red, that's when you can distort the speakers, etc. So always try and keep it green or amber. Then if you move across, we'll jump into the settings tab real quick. Now, I don't usually mess about with these. All I make sure is that when I record mixes, they're in WAV format. For the purposes of the video, I've put Simple Sync on and Snap to Beat Grid. And then the only other thing is vinyl breaking, which is obviously another. It's an effect that you can use basically when you hit play on a track and pause. You hear that how it gradually slows the track down. That's what a vinyl break is. So that's just that the bog standard vinyl break. Then if we move across, we've got, like I was talking about earlier, mixed in key is, you know, you can either have classical keys or Camelot. Camelot is the wheel, which is it's easier because you like, if you've got classical, it's like A minor, E minor, F minor, and it can get a bit confusing if you know new to DJing. So make sure that's set to Camelot. And then everything else is like effects is, if you've just brought the bog standard one, you'll get the bass pack with it. I brought when I brought my controller, it came with a copy of Serato. I also got the Wolf Pack edition as well. And then expansion packs are like Serato Video and stuff like that, which are pretty cool. Then, so if we go back, what we'll do is we'll just quickly jump through. We'll jump to the first drop of this track, and we'll do a quick mix of two tracks together so you can see when and where to hit play. So if we hit play on this, turn this down a little bit. So we'll let the track play out. Counting them beats. We're waiting for it. One, 2, 3, 4, 2, 2, 3, 4, 3, 2, 3, 4, 4, 2, 3, 4, 5, 2, 3, 4, 6, 2, 3, 4, 7, 2, 3, 4, 8, 2, 3, 4. So that's like general counting beats of a track. So if we just quickly skip back to there, we'll jump that in there. Now that's pretty close. Now what you'll notice is if you want to slow down the track or speed up, if you hold Y speeds it up, T slows the second track down. So then if we bring this track in across, you'll start to hear it coming in. Now we've got both tracks playing. Now that you notice they're both in time, so they both, you know, complement each other really well. So just let these play out. What we're going to do is we're going to transition from the build up of the first track and flip it across on the second drop. So it's building up. I'm waiting for that. You'll know when to do it. There we go. So we went from the first track to the second track using the drop of the second track to complement the first track. So that's basically pretty much the general overview of Serato as a beginner, looking at it from outside in. There's a lot more involved, obviously, but what we'll do is in the next video, I'll jump onto the controller and I'll show you, like, you know, different aspects of the controller, how they work well with Serato. So that's basically it. So thank you very much for watching. Hope you enjoyed the video. If you've got any questions, please feel free to ask. Like, if there's anything at all, I will, you know, I'll help you out. I'll give you, you know, I'll drop you a message, etc. So, but yeah, thanks a lot. I'll catch you next time.